No one could deny Kings Island has gotten a lot of stuff over the past decade or more, with Cedar Fair capping off a pretty brisk pace of capital investments at the park with Ohio's second gigacoaster, Orion, in 2020. But still, one question that has been on the mind of Kings Island fans and the amusement park community at large since the removal of Vortex in late 2019 has been, what will take its place? KI Coaster Guy here, and today we're going to be talking about my top 5 picks of new roller coasters to replace Vortex. Shout out to viewer History Nerd, whose suggestion inspired this video, and if any of you have a suggestion for something you'd like to see on the channel, leave it in the comments section below, and I just might end up doing it. Now, just to make it crystal clear, this is definitely more of a what I think the park could really use video than it is a prediction kind of thing. So it's really not necessary at all to let me know all the reasons why Cedar Fair would never build any of this stuff because of past drama between companies or whatever. Or you know what? Do it anyway. It boosts engagement. I personally think the conversation of what might improve the lineup of the park is more interesting than trying to determine what they're actually most likely to build. And there's already a bunch of videos out there trying to predict what the next ride will be anyway. That being said, if that's something you guys want me to do, let me know, and if enough people seem to want that, I'll totally do it. With all that out of the way, let's get into it. I have yet to visit Silver Dollar City, which means, unfortunately, I've never had the chance to ride Time Traveler over there. But if I found myself in that park, this would be one of the first things I'd line up for. While certainly not the whippy, intense, ejector-filled ride I think the park could really use right now, something like Time Traveler would be a unique, and by all accounts, thoroughly fun addition to the park. I really envision something with a similar layout here, and it would be really cool to have that vertical drop straight out of the station like that. I think the feeling people describe of facing different directions during the drop, depending on which seat you're in, sounds pretty cool. The most similar thing I've been on to this is probably Sierra Sidewinder at Knott's Berry Farm, but they don't really seem comparable to me, so since I can't really comment much on what the ride experience is like, other than what I've heard, I'd like to add here that I would really like to see something with a similar level of theming if a ride like this were to come to the park. The attention to detail here is just absolutely insane. I am putting this one last because, like I said, I think there are other rides that would complement the park's lineup a little bit better, but if Kings Island were to announce something like this, I think it would be kind of hard to be disappointed about it. Since this new model of ride from S&S Sansei first appeared on radar for most of us sometime in late 2019, not a single park has announced one as a new addition, probably due in no small part to world events of the last year or two. At any rate, since the first time I saw this thing, I've thought Kings Island would be a great park to be the first to build one of these. Not only is Axis just a really cool concept, but to me, it also seems like you can trace the lineage of this design all the way back to the original suspended coasters built by Aero Development back in the 1980s and 90s. If an Axis were to replace Vortex, it would be sitting on the same ground as one of the original rides of that type, the Bat. So there's a bit of satisfying continuity there. In addition, it's been quite some time since Kings Island has blazed any trails the way it used to, and I'd be happy to see them do that again. Beyond that, this is a coaster that looks like an entirely different experience from anything else out there, and I'm really excited to try one of these wherever it opens, Kings Island or no, hopefully in the not too distant future. With the popularity of Lightning Run at Kentucky Kingdom, it's really surprising to me that no other park has built one of these, and I'm definitely not the only one. And while the current single example is a little more compact than what Kings Island usually seems to go for, I can't see any reason why you couldn't just build a bigger one if you wanted to. Either way, I think a coaster like this would be a perfect addition to the park's lineup, especially considering it seems likely Cedar Fair may be looking to tighten their belts a bit for the next few years. Lightning Run was built at a cost of $7 million, which is really not much for a coaster, especially considering the way this attraction has been received. I think a lot of people would prefer they build a clone of Lightning Run for $7 million than have Kings Island drop $20 million on a wing or a dive coaster from B&M. Best of all, I think an intense coaster like this with rapid transitions filled with ejector airtime is precisely the kind of ride the park could really use right now. And a Chance Morgan Hyper GTX just might be the most cost-effective way to do that. Okay, so before we get to the top 2, I just want to take a moment to thank you all for your support. If you've been here a while, you may have noticed things have started to really pick up a bit, and as I'm recording this, we're closing in on the 1,000 subscriber milestone, and I really appreciate each and every one of you for supporting this channel. If you're new around here and want to join our small but growing community, consider subscribing and enabling notifications so you don't miss anything. And as always, a thumbs up rating is greatly appreciated and really helps get the videos out there. Once again, thanks everyone. All right, let's get back to it. If you were to somehow round up every post and every comment regarding a Vortex replacement at Kings Island and run all the coasters mentioned through software to generate a word cloud, I'd be willing to bet good money that ground up RMC would probably appear the largest on it. As RMC coasters have built their reputation over the past few years, rides by this manufacturer are probably at or near the top of fans' wish lists at any park that doesn't have one. And Kings Island is no exception. And while this isn't my personal top pick, if it is yours, believe me, I can completely understand why. And I'd be nothing short of thrilled if my home park announced an RMC was on the way. Steel Vengeance was my first experience with one of these rides, and like many of you, I was completely blown away by it. And that's after quite a while of hearing all the hype before I had a chance to get back up to Cedar Point. So if I'm honest, I was expecting I might be let down because of how much buildup there was. But nope, it's truly an incredible ride. I've seen that some people think this is one of the least likely possibilities for a Vortex replacement, and you could certainly make that argument convincingly. I wouldn't stake my reputation on predicting one will be coming as the next addition to the park. On the other hand though, Rocky Mountain construction is on a hot streak right now, and I think we'll continue to see these popping up all over the place. So I would in no way be surprised if we see one at Kings Island eventually. Yeah, I know. Actually, this can't happen ever because Cedar Fair will never, ever work with Intamin again. Trust me, I think we have all heard this many, many times from many, many people. And while it is true that the relationship between these two companies has clearly broken down and they haven't worked together in a long while, I do think it's a bit much that people say that like it's an absolute fact. In any case, however unlikely it may be, I think an Intamin launch coaster similar to what Universal just built in Velocicoaster, or a Blitz like Maverick, would fit the park so perfectly. Maverick is one of my favorite coasters I've ever been on, and still one of the most popular rides at Cedar Point. So I imagine it would be a similarly big draw at Kings Island. And while I don't hear people say it quite as much as they used to, I still think this one ranks pretty highly among other coasters on a lot of fans' wish list for the park. It's been a while since Kings Island has received a new launch coaster, and while both launches that are currently part of the lineup are just fine, I think a newer, more modern one would be a nice thing to have. In addition to that though, it would also be another coaster on this list that would give the park exactly the kind of experience I think it could really use. A steel coaster, smooth, quick transitions, and yes, ejector airtime, and some intense low-to-the-ground moments. I actually did a video last year about what I think Kings Island really needs that should be popping up on the screen if you want to check that out, as well as another recommendation if that kind of thing isn't your bag, baby. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to let me know by hitting the thumbs up button. Anyway, folks, that all clear means I'm out of here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.